Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's Rip City Real Talk, and here we are. It's Craig Moshkow, Anthony Blaylock. We're ready to break down not a huge week news-wise, but a definitive week for us in the Blazer land. And with me, as always, my best buddy, Anthony Blaylock. What's up, man?
Hey buddy, how is it going? It
Um,
is it is
Excellent.
definitely good to see some wins finally show up on the board. We've had a nasty little losing streak there, so good to see us go 500 or better. That's the motto. So back to the motto. Always happy to see that. Breaking down the Suns, 2 Grizzlies games, and the Hornets.
Yeah, 4 games. We have some weekly trends, and then at the very end of the pod, so stick around till the end because we are going to play a new game and have a new segment at the end called "Who Are You?" And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So stick around for that.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it. Before you do that, just hit the subscribe button down below. You can follow us on the Instas, the Twitter. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you that we are working on another giveaway. This will be a Twitter giveaway this time. So if you're on the tweets, follow us. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it'll be a prize we'll be giving out in January. Not quite as cool as tickets this time around, but something maybe to keep your head warm. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you ponder that.
Mm.
But that's what we got going on. So subscribe, like, follow, do all that good stuff, and we'll continue to make sure we give you that content that you enjoy so much, new
Absolutely.
segments and all.
Yep, it's a good time to sub. We appreciate it. So where are we going to start this week off, man?
Well, Suns. So this was a
Mm.
fun one. It was probably a little closer than it should have been. It was the first overtime game of the year, so that was exciting. We ended up losing 111 to 107. Just a great duel of two really good point guards, especially in the end, who play completely different styles. Dame was on it. He looked good. He had 31 points, 10 assists, and Chris Paul, same type of deal. He was just really, really good. I think he had 24 points in that game. So it's great to see those two go at it. It always is. It's always fun, but it sucks to lose an overtime game like that at home.
Hmm.
But it was the start of a positive trend for the team throughout the week. I think at least it was a lot more close, competitive games than we've had recently. So that was great to see. Do you notice anything at the game that stood out to you other than it being the first overtime game and being an
Yeah.
unfortunate loss?
I mean, I got some notes from this one because I watched this one really intensely. Anytime we play a top end West team, I know that, if the Blazers squeak into the playoffs, we might end up playing in the Suns in the first round. So I always try to keep an eye
Hmm.
on that. First of all, no Devin Booker is obviously going to impact the Suns tremendously, right? Not having a guy who can create his own shot in the way Booker can is kind of a big deal. Crowder and Bridges are just so good defensively against Portland that it's always a really difficult matchup because they always have those long guard defenders that can actually laterally move, which is refreshing, I'm sure, for a team. Um, Other than that, man, I mean, I don't have a ton of other stuff. Ayton was pretty amazing in this game. Did you get to watch how good he was in pick and roll
Well, it
and
was
defense?
he was fine, but it has to do to me a lot more with the way we play defense
Hmm.
nowadays than anything else. When Nurk is up top like that, and the way that Chris Paul can dissect and make that pass when he kind of gets around our guards, I mean, Aiton was wide open at the rim way too many times. I mean, they had
Hmm.
50 points in the paint. They shot 47% from the field. It's gonna be really hard to beat a team when you're giving up almost 50% shooting, and most of that's coming in the paint, completely undefended. Um,
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of it does have to do with the pick and roll with Aiton and Chris Paul just being such a good guard, especially with the way that he can pass to the bigs at the rim and
Hmm.
make that secondary read. But a lot of that's also just the way that there's nobody down there. There's no help. The rotations aren't getting there quick enough, and Nurk is nowhere to be found by the basket because of the
Hmm.
defensive style that we're trying to play.
It's not
But that
good.
was a killer most of the game.
I wrote down a possession in overtime where basically I feel like we over rotated, over hedged, over blitzed, and next thing you know, Aiton had a free roll to the basket with Dame and Simons as like the low defenders. It doesn't make any sense if the rotation doesn't come through perfectly. We're getting burned.
Yeah, we can talk about how we didn't like Stotts in the drop scheme that he played with the centers all the time, and we can go over that all day. But at the same time, there are certain players and certain matchups where that needs to be a necessity, and I don't feel like Chauncey adjusted very well.
Mm-mm,
Uh,
not
I,
at
I
all.
just didn't feel like he did enough of that in that particular game to help
Hmm.
out, and it was really rough watching Aiton just walk to the rim. Boom, Chris Paul passes to him, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Hmm.
But I agree. Anytime you get Phoenix without Booker, that's one you got to try to take advantage of. Now we didn't have CJ,
Yeah.
granted, but that's one of the games that you got to take advantage of. We haven't had Aiton the last couple of times we played them, and this time they didn't have Booker,
Hmm.
and we're just not able to capitalize on that.
And The Suns' offense is a lot of motion. It's a lot of driving pick and roll and then kick out to shooters. I mean, they have a ton of really good perimeter shooters. And so I just think anytime this team plays Chris Paul, he's going to probably carve us up. He knows exactly what to do against every coverage we can throw at him. I just, and then the other thing is, so we missed a few really key free throws, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Nurkic misses one that was, I think we were like at 101 to 100. And if he makes that free throw, we're up by 2 points. And then there was another one where Norm missed a free throw or
Powell.
something. Powell missed a free throw. It's just, it was killer. That was stuff that shouldn't happen. That game could have gone our way.
It should have gone our way. We shouldn't have been in overtime because the free throws should have absolutely helped us ice the game. They didn't
Yeah.
shoot good. That's a problem as well.
Mhm.
There's just something about Chris Paul. The dude has one of the best mid-range games in probably the entire league. And it's just so much different than the style that Dame plays. You know, Dame's going to look to shoot or he's going to look to get around you and drive to the rim. And every once in a while he'll shoot a mid-range shot. You know, he'll fade or he'll do something like that. But Chris Paul's able to do that so effectively that it draws guys out to him that have
Yes.
to try to play that defense. And that's where he's able to make that secondary pass. And that's why he's so good and has been his entire career. And we
Mhm.
talked about it. I mean, when you have an athletic big like Aiton, and you don't have a center down there to help. I mean, having that kind of a playmaker
It's a
that's
killer.
able to shoot and score the way he at will. I mean, he was able to do
Yep.
whatever he wanted. He had a couple big shots over us, and some of those shots were against good defense, granted. But a lot of it's also that guys are, you know, they're just not in position to be able to help defend because the rotations are so poor right now and the communication's so bad. That was just a tough one. You don't want it to be a close game against a team like that who just came off the Western Conference Finals and went
Oh,
to
it's
the
brutal.
NBA Finals, and you know you want to try to put that away when you had your opportunities to do so.
Yep, it was brutal. It was hard to watch. I mean, it's exciting having an overtime game, and I feel like Dame started to look healthy at times in this game. He looked healthier all throughout the week. As the week went on, he looked better and better, I thought. But he looked like he was back in this game. I don't have a whole lot more. I mean, like I said, obviously Cam Payne and Chris Paul and Aiton, they did whatever they wanted. Bridges looked good defensively, but I don't really have a ton else in this one.
No, they hit bigger shots at the end, and we didn't. I mean,
Yep.
that's all it comes down to. We only shot 31% from three. We took 41 shots.
Yep.
You know, so that's not going to help either, especially against a team like that. You gave them way too much opportunity to stay in that game, and the championship team pulled away in the end in overtime. So what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't get much better from there, huh? So we move over to the Grizzlies, another loss, 113 to 103, a
Mm-hmm.
game that we were actually up going into the fourth quarter,
Yep.
and and man, that was just they put together a string of threes, and that was that. I mean, that was absolutely that. I think
Yeah.
Desmond Bain looked like Ray
Amazing.
Allen or Steph Curry out there. He hit
It was
5 threes in that
crazy.
game. That was rough. I mean, and it's funny because the Herd said something on the broadcast. He's like, "Yep, in the next 2 minutes, this is the situation where you got to play really good because Dame's going to have to go out and rest." We didn't play really good at all.
Ever.
So that one was a little rough. I mean, Brooks, we'll talk about him overall this week, I guess, a little bit, but we played him twice now, and he had 22 points in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then their bench was just on fire.
Oh
So
my
when you have a
gosh.
starter like that going off, and then they have the bench going off like that, that's a tough recipe to get any kind of a victory. And they've been undermanned too. I mean, they haven't had John Morant for,
It's crazy.
I think this was like the 11th game that we had tonight, actually, without him. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they were 10-1 coming into this one.
And so the offense started so slow in this game. It was such a slog, and we were so stuck in mud to start this game that I didn't ever feel good about this game ever. I never thought that we would be able to do anything because that's something that this team does a lot is they go through spurts where either Nurkic looks really unplugged on offense. The other thing is sloppy ball movement, man. I mean, just horrifying ball movement, really sloppy, terrible passing, wasn't crisp. We just came off flat.
Yeah, that's what happened. We don't have a lot of ball handlers that are good at passing. I know Dane gets assist numbers
Mm-hmm.
mostly because of the kicks and some of the pick and roll, but we don't really have anybody on this team that can pass like a Chris Paul can pass.
Mm-hmm.
So you're forcing these guys to try to swing this ball around, and I think it makes guys uncomfortable sometimes. Normal situations like with Stotts where they would probably shoot, now they're trying to make that extra pass, and that is fine when it works. I'm all about getting more efficient looks, but I feel like we see this all too often with this team and have this year to where the extra pass is starting to kill us. We're getting low in the shot clock. Guys are having to chuck up shots. What happened today, we had a turnover. Not a turnover necessarily, but Rocco got stuck with a really bad shot tonight. because they threw it to him with like no time left on the shot clock and he couldn't get his feet planted.
Tons
And
of those.
and it happens all the time. And it seems to happen a lot with this team. If you really watch it, you'll see like, oh, why didn't you just shoot that? Or why didn't you drive? Or maybe you should go up with that. Nope, he passed out to another guy in the perimeter. And there's a guy there. So now he has to swing it around and you get a bad look out of it instead of what the intended plan was to get a good look. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this one was just, again, you had them there for 3 quarters. Those are the ones you want to try to take advantage of. And unfortunately, that little spurt that they had in the 3rd quarter just kind of put us away. It's a little rough.
Yep. I agree. I mean, Simons, Dame, and Powell were all really good in this game. I didn't have a lot of problems with the start.
Simons had what, 22? That was really good.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. My computer, my Google Chrome is frozen. That's why I'm not normally sharing. Like normally, I'm sharing stats by now. But the podcast is still running, so we're good. It's really interesting. I do think that this is one of those games where I think I told you already, Nurkic was really good in spurts of this game. I just don't know why consistently he cannot put it together at times. The other part was the Grizzlies are a tough team, and Desmond Bane, I mean, he was really hot in this game, but the Blazers have got to be able to make some type of adjustment. They haven't adjusted very well. They've played some zone defensively, and they've done some things, but offensively, there's really no game plan, and it doesn't seem to change or vary from game to game. It's just the exact same thing every time.
And it's even worse when you don't have CJ out there because at least you have 2 options to be able to create shots with.
Exactly.
Really, right now, it's been Dame and hope that somebody else steps up and hits shots. Now, granted, Powell's looked really good. All year, Powell's looked really good, but Powell isn't the kind of creator that CJ is. You know, he can attack the rim, he can pump fake a 3 and drive, and he's great in transition, and he's an awesome shooter. Obviously, he's probably one of our best 3-point shooters on the team, at least this year. And it just, you know, he doesn't have the same ability that CJ has, so it does limit you a little bit. But the offense isn't necessarily the problem to me. I mean, again, the defense we gave up. Guess what numbers we gave up in this one? I'll let you guess. What was the field goal percentage you think?
Okay, so I'm shooting off the hip because I don't have my stats. So I will say field goal percentage, we gave up 55%.
No, not that bad, thank God. 47.
Okay. I knew it was pretty bad. I mean, I turned the game off at certain points because I was like making me physically ill.
And then 50 points in the paint again. And there was Steven Adams and Deron Jackson. That 50 points in the paint. So just to put that in perspective, the Suns game, 47% field goal, 50 points in the paint.
Wow, it's like the exact same number.
And the results were the exact same. It's, you know, and this is, listen, I get Chris Paul and Ayton doing some damage to us.
Yeah.
I do not understand how you're letting guys like Dylan Brooks get in the paint super easily and doing whatever they want. There's no reason for it. I don't. Again, when you have a fully healthy Nurkic, and these are the types of things that even Larry Nance is supposed to be a big deal. He's supposed to come in and help, and he's been starting. There's no reason why they should be able to get such easy looks in the paint. And again, that's problems with communication and trying to over rotate on defense. This is not one of those matchups where I thought, yeah, you should do a little bit more drop scheme because they're just getting whatever they want at the rim. This was guys just getting around our players super easily and nobody there to help contain again. This is just one of those situations where Nurk is too far away. He's not able to recover. And the guys that are supposed to be able to help are not there to help. They're just not able to. Or if they do get over there, we're looking at a kick out and a 3. Like my head movement as I'm showing you the pass mentally.
I love it.
I don't know, man. I just feel like this was a good game. And then when they hit those 3s in the 4th quarter to begin that 4th quarter, they got up by about 9, 10, 12, and that was it. And we lost by 10. We could just never quite get it back from there. We couldn't get the stops that we needed. That's a rough one.
It is. This was a tough game. I thought that Dame looked better. Like I said, he looked healthier in every game this year. We were able to get Jaren Jackson off of his spots and not let him get super comfortable. But Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, I mean, this is just a really frustrating team for us.
Yeah, but more on that later. We did have a little bit of redemption against them tonight. But things started to turn around. This is the point in the week where, you know what, like had a couple close games. I mean, this was a 10-point loss, and it really wasn't close in the 4th quarter. But it was still, it felt like the energy and the competitiveness of the team has been a little bit higher.
Yes, I agree with that.
That carried over to the Hornets. Some good and some bad in this one. This was one of those weird games where I'm obviously super happy we beat a fully healthy Hornets team. At the same time, we should have beat them by a lot more.
Yeah, I didn't honestly get it.
I mean, it didn't make sense. We were down. I think we had them down by 29 points, and they came clawing back, and then they only lost by I think 9. I think it was 125 to 116. So, and really, quite frankly, it was probably even a little bit closer than that because it came down to like a 6-point swing there in the fourth quarter near the end of the game. We ended up hitting a couple shots, and there's some fouls and free throws that help slow things down and make the score look a little bit different than it actually ended up being.
Mm.
So not super impressive there, but who did look impressive was Damian Lillard. And this is a team that I thought would be a little tougher on him because they're a little more long
Me
and
too.
athletic. And he had a season high 43 points in this one. So
Yeah, he looked really good. I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's the polar opposite of the Grizzlies game. We came out red hot. We were striking right from the start. We had energy. The crowd was into it. It's I don't know how to explain it, but the Blazers just come out flat sometimes. I don't know if that's the players, if that's coaching. I'm not sure. But this game, it was the opposite. We came out, we were firing on all cylinders. Dame was picking their coverages apart. I mean, he was
whatever he wanted.
He did whatever he wanted. And I was with you because I thought, LaMelo Ball and Bridges are going to be able to kind of smother Dame. And he looked really comfortable in this game. I don't have a ton of other notes from that because we got off to such a hot start that it wasn't really a competitive game. And then I did not really want to watch the third and fourth quarter because it was so nerve-wracking. I did, but it was just nerve-wracking. I didn't like that feeling.
Of them slinking back, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought we were going to lose.
But I'll be honest with you, they didn't take into account everybody's new favorite Blazer.
Oh,
and I'm not talking about Norman Powell because he actually had a really bad game. I think he only ended up with like 12 points.
Not great.
He didn't look. He was a little off tonight. And that's all right. He deserves to have an off game once in a while. I'm not even going to say anything bad about Powell because he's been awesome for us. He looked well with the money. Goodbye, Gary Trent. Don't care about you anymore. Powell was definitely the move.
You don't miss him, huh?
Best move Neil ever made. But that's not the superhero. That wasn't the man with the plan. That wasn't Ben freaking McLemore. We don't need another Ben on this team. We do not need Ben Simmons. Okay, I'm saying that sarcastic.
Yes.
Ben Simmons, please come to Portland. But also, I don't know if there's enough room for two Bens. McLemore at 28 points, 3 shy of his career high. He tied his career high with 8 threes, and man, down the stretch, especially, he hit some threes that were just.
He was wild.
Chauncey talks about being loud shots, and that really is not, obviously the sound that the basket makes when the ball goes through it. It means the momentum swingers, the crowd getters, and McLemore was just on it all night. He looked like a superstar. I stand corrected. I'll be honest. Generally on this show, you and me are typically right about a lot of stuff. That's not to toot our own horns. We're just good at what we do when we talk about the Blazers, unlike some other YouTube channels that are tooting me wrong lately. But us, we're usually right. I was wrong about McLemore. I wasn't. When he came in, I'm like, yeah, he's going to be a shooter. He's going to come in. He's not going to do anything else except shoot. And even then, looking at his stats career-wise, he hasn't been an amazing three-point shooter, even though he's touted up to be that.
Yeah,
he's fine. Good enough to shoot on the. No, I was totally wrong. The last couple of weeks with some of the injuries that we've had, the boy's coming out. He's on fire.
Hot.
Great, especially from the corner three. That's been his spot for most of the attempts that he's taken. And he's doing a lot of what Powell did for us last year. Gary Trent, like he's coming in and just hitting some threes. Okay, defense, nothing super fancy, but man, the 3-point shooting for him right now has been awesome. And I think he had a dunk. I think this is the game that he had a dunk, and it was pretty sweet. So he's feeling it, and he has to because we only have like 3 guys on our bench right now. So he really had to step up, and he has.
Well, and so it's not only that he's just hitting open threes too. He's helping to collapse the defense. He's hitting up. He's doing these really cool quick pumps and then sidestepping and hitting. I mean, he's been really good at what he needs to do, which is bench scoring, being a spark plug. We talked about it last week, and I basically said, I don't understand why Tony Snell is playing minutes right now. I get that you're challenged offensively, and Ben McLemore should be your 6th or 7th man off the bench, depending on what you need for that night. I think he's perfect right now for what we need. And this team's never going to be very good defensively, so who gives a dang about playing Tony Snell? Let's just keep Ben McLemore.
Snell hasn't really played the last couple games anyway. I don't know if he, I think some of it has to do with he's been a little banged up, and also McLemore stepped up so much that I feel like with Rocco there, they already have some length in the second unit, and they have scoring on the second unit and shooting particularly.
Yeah, plenty.
But they haven't had to put Snell out there, which has been good for us.
And Larry Nance has been starting, right?
Nance has been starting, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Covington's been coming off the bench.
That's what I thought.
So, I mean, and again, the other thing I noticed with this particular game is Charlotte didn't really have anybody on the bench that did anything. I mean, Ball ended up with 27. He actually looked really good. He was super efficient, but he had a wrist thing. They showed it on TV. He had the wrist injury, and he really didn't play a lot in the second half until really the fourth quarter. And honestly, if he would have been in there a little sooner, they might have they might have recovered a little quicker than they did, and it might be a little bit more competitive than it was.
Right.
But they didn't have anybody else. I mean, Hayward only had like 9. I think Rozier had 2. They didn't have anybody really go off scoring wise. Their bench did all right, and Bridges always does all right. Bridges is a stud. Both pitchers in the league are studs, but nobody else really helped him out from the starting standpoint. Plumlee didn't do anything for him, and I think that kind of hurt him. I mean, their bench was able to come in and do all right, but that's one of the reasons I think they got off to such a slow start. Just nobody could shoot for them. Nobody was able to do anything, and we were just able to come out and with Dame playing the way that Dame was playing, looked a little nostalgic. We were able to get up and actually hold off a team this time, so that was great.
Yeah, it was. Gosh.
But that's all I have on this one. I mean, again, we're 1-1 with them now in the season. We had that loss earlier in the year. That was a little rough, and then this was a good one to see.
It's a good win.
See a recovery from for a team like this that really gives us fits because of their athleticism.
And Dame had 43 in this game, right?
43. Yeah.
That's a fantastic game. I mean, that's Dame. That's what we need. And we weren't getting that for the first month of the season. Like, he just hasn't been healthy.
No, I mean his scoring has been down, but he's been mid-20s, low 20s. It's the efficiency. This looked like the burst that we've seen him do. Some of the shots that we normally see him make. And I know he's still probably dealing with the abdomen thing. I mean, it's not fully healthy. He had a shot. I believe it was the Phoenix game. We went up and shot it. Ended up holding his abdomen after a 3. Didn't look great, but he still looks like the recovery and the rest may have helped a little bit. So good to see. Happy to see him be able to come out and get his season high, and that carried over till tonight. He ended up with 32 in tonight's game against Memphis. Another W, 105-100. Always a close one, but this tonight was a fun one. I mean, we just got done watching it not too long ago. And now we're doing the pod, so it's fresh in our heads. Do you have any notes on that one that you want to do out there?
Dylan Brooks is like the whole game to me. I mean, it's just look, love him or hate him, he's a pain in the butt, right? He's kind of that Draymond style agitator, but he's what the Blazers need. He's got edge. He's really frustrating on defense. He can pester people. He can make them uncomfortable, and he does a lot on offense. He attacks the rim kind of like Powell does. It's not pretty, but it works, and he shoots really well too when he's open. I mean, a lot of guys do this in the NBA, but Dylan Brooks he just seems like a player that the Blazers need to try to find. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and again, he ended up with 37 tonight, which is crazy to me. He was on fire.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. The defense that he was able to play, he was able to go out on Dame, and he didn't lock Dame down. I mean, Dame still had 32 points, but he definitely made things way more complicated for us to run our offense through. We had 25 turnovers. It is unheard of to get 25 turnovers on the road. Pull out a W.
I can't believe that.
And a lot of them were just sloppy turnovers, and a lot of them have to do with this Brooks kind of taking Dame out of his element. He did end up having a really bad play where he fouled Dame on a 3-point shot that Dame hit and got a free throw, and that was kind of one of the big deals at the end of the game that helped kind of put this away.
It did.
So he had his mistakes for sure, and that was a situation where he had ran inside and then tried to go back out and help, and it was too late. When he was one-on-one with Dame and locking Dame down, he was a lot more effective. So,
what did you think of the defense tonight?
Better. I think that a lot of it to me had to do with them just not shooting good. They had 26% from 3 tonight. If they hit a little bit more of their threes, we're talking a whole different game. They were atrocious from 3, which is not normally like them. Desmond Bane and Brooks are good shooters. But on the flip side of that, I mean, I feel like you got the stops and you needed to get the stops. Like they were able to go down. There's a lot more hustle in this one. I don't think the defense was anything super impressive to me out of anything else that we've had throughout the week. I think really their lack of shooting really helped. But at the same time, we just looked pumped up. And I think a lot of that, it's great. You talked about Brooks and you talked about Brooks' attitude. And he's out there just pissing people off. But at the same time, when he makes a big shot and he turns around and looks at our bench, or he gets in a guy like Little's face or Powell's face, which he did, that gets those guys a bit more pumped up. And on the defensive end, you can see that energy come out, especially when he has the ball in his hands. And there's certain guys that you just get annoyed with and you play better against. And Brooks, for as annoying as he can be, we ended up being able to it enhances the entire defense of the team. So it's not just against him particularly, it's against the team because you're amped up after a guy's been talking shit to you all night.
Yep. And Nasir Little was good in this game. And I was really hard on him in the last podcast. I said durability was an issue and he needs to be more consistent. He looked great. I mean, for what his role is on this team, right? He's still really young. He's still really limited in the minutes that Chauncey's going to play him. But Nasir Little stepped up. Anthony Simons had a pretty good week overall, and Norman Powell was pretty consistent too.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. I mean, he had a really nice just mid-range shot over a guy. He kind of dribbled in and got the guy backpedaling a bit and stopped and shot. His shooting is, we've talked about it, has been one of the biggest things this season that, in the last really the couple seasons that we weren't expecting him to be able to come in and do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting better and better on the defensive end, and he had some good stops tonight where he did the same type of thing where he was able to get in guys' face and deflect some balls. And that's one of those
huge.
things that's one of those things that we need to be doing all year. And there's no surprise that he's gotten more minutes recently, and we're paying for that with wins.
I think his ceiling on both ends of the floor is completely undefined. We just have no idea. We've seen him score 30 points against Milwaukee last year. We've seen him make some amazing defensive plays this year. It would play big blocks. I mean, energy plays. I just don't know what Nasir can be, and that's why I think he should be untouchable still.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think he has a lot of the Bridges potential. I think he has like small, low end Jeremy Grant potential where he can just be a really good athletic, maybe not quite as good of a shooter, but it can give you the ability to attack the rim. He can still hit open shots, and his defense is going to get there where he's athletic enough to get up and block shots and get in guys' faces. He does all the things that I really wish Derrick Jones Jr. would have done. I'm sorry, he's doing that. We talked about it last year. I hate Derrick Jones Jr.'s effort, and
it's not.
People tried to tell me that it wasn't. Yes, it was. It was. He was not doing the thing. Little is not as good of a defender, probably, but he's a bigger hustler, so he gets away with more plays and is able to be more effective when he's on the court. Yep. So that's what I think. There's a lot of upside for him there. I know. I have to take my Derrick Jones Jr. shot where I can.
You kill me.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, unless you have anything else you want to talk about with this game, we can move on to kind of the weekly trends.
No, this is pretty much it for the week. As far as the recap on the games go, most people, probably forgot all about Phoenix by now. We're a little late on that. It was Tuesday, but doing our best to get caught back up. The Memphis one's a little fresher in people's heads. Again, just one of those games where probably closer than it should have been, but when you held them, the shooting as rough as they shot, you got to be able to take advantage of those games because we are not a good 3-point defensive team. We give up one of the highest percentages in the league. They shot 26%. You got to capitalize on these wins, and we did it. So, All right. But before we get to the weekly stuff, kind of an overall general trend of the week, I think it's time for you have a new segment for us this week that we're going to do in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think it could come anywhere close to everybody's favorite segment. Blazing New Trails X Player of the Week. You know it, my favorite. I wonder what one of our old players is up to these days. I think this is one that's going to be pretty obvious because I typically focus on something for the week. Danny Ainge. Yes, Danny Ainge. He played in Portland in 90 and 91. Most of you probably know that because he went to high school, in Eugene. He's a Portland guy, or an Oregon guy, I should say. And, he's got a lot of following here, a lot of fans here. So Danny Ainge, which if you could share your stuff, you'd probably put a picture up.
I wish I could.
Yeah, that's okay.
Google.
You're ruining my entire segment, but
I know.
It's fine. For those who are wondering, if you haven't heard the news, and most of you hardcore fans probably already know this, but he became the Utah Jazz CEO and alternate governor. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna be honest. I don't study the front office. I probably should. Alternate governor. I don't know what that is. But from my research, which was very little, it does say that he's basically the second most powerful person on the team behind the owner. The interesting choice. Obviously, there was some fallout with the Celtics. We don't know all the details there. There's a lot of rumors and mystery surrounding his departure from Boston. But I know that he was a top candidate. Well, on the wish list of candidates, because we don't think we actually reached out for obviously the Portland GM position, having the ties to Portland, playing here, being from Oregon and all that good stuff. He seemed like a guy that made sense, and he had really good experience and some decent runs in Boston, obviously bringing them a championship by selling their future for Durant and Ray Allen, I think at the time, and those guys. But yeah, that's what he's doing these days. What do you make of that? Do you think Danny Ainge would have been nice for Portland's team? He's sad he's with the Jazz and not us.
There are a lot of people who wanted him. Chad Dewing wanted us to call him. I don't know. I think Ainge took the right role for himself. I don't think he was ready to come into Portland and do an 80-hour-a-week work week. I think he wanted something a little lighter. He's in his kind of retirement age, and he lives like a mile away from the stadium, so it's really easy for him because he's already there. So it's fine. I totally get it, and I don't think there's a whole lot more from a Portland perspective you would have wanted to see. I don't think Danny Ainge is the answer to our problems.
No, and he was a BYU guy, so I think it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense for him to end up in Utah with the Jazz. So
Yep.
that's it. Just imagine a sweet picture apparently too. I'm very disappointed because before we got on the podcast tonight,
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I got the best
I
picture. Oh,
do.
what a specimen is what
He
he."
is.
So I was a little
Good.
disappointed. Maybe we'll have you add it in the comments if you can do
I
that in the
will.
YouTube comments because I think the people need to see. They, they
Click
need to
on
see.
click on the picture in the description, link in the description, because you got to see this. He is a beast. I mean, he looks like he could play the Hulk in the MCU.
Well, there you have it. There's your Blazing New Trails ex-player. Thank you for your couple years in Portland, Mr. Ainge. Good luck to you in Utah. You got a heck of a roster and heck of a team to support you in your beginnings there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do you
Okay.
got for weekly stuff, bud? What do you got for me?
Okay, so here's what I was kind of thinking. I wanted to see Larry Nance more, and I wanted to see Rocco less in the starting lineup. The
I
other
got the
thing
wish.
yep, and that worked out really well. The thing is, though, I'm not 100% sure Larry Nance should be playing the 4 on this team. I almost think he should be playing the small ball 5, which did happen at times during this week. I just found this stat, though. So Nance is running 4.4 screens per game with Damian Lillard. Nurkic is running 19 screens per game with Damian Lillard. So Nurk is used as a screener in the pick and roll with Dame like 5 times the amount that Larry Nance is. And I think Larry Nance actually as a rim runner makes a lot more sense to partner with Dame. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think his size is still an issue to me.
Okay.
I'm fine with the small ball center world.
Yeah.
But I think to me, I would rather see him more in a Draymond type of situation because I
Mm-hmm.
think he's such a good passer. And Draymond Green plays power forward. He plays the 4. They have a
True.
big derpy center that they throw out there, and until
That dunks.
Wiseman gets back.
Yeah.
And so it's not like Draymond Green plays center. And I think that's a good role for Nance to be able
That's
to
a good
go out
point.
there and run the. I'm not saying not to run the offense through him. I do think that they should go through him a little bit more while he's out there and use him as a facilitator over
Yes.
Nurk getting the ball and trying to make passes and running the screen with Dame. I do think I would like to see a bit more pick and roll with Nance and Dame just because of the athleticism that he brings.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like Nurk has been bad in that situation. I mean, Nurk's
No,
been absolutely fine.
it's
He's
been fine.
actually having one of his best years statistically. So I'm cool with them being out there together. I still don't know. To me, Nance isn't the best 3-point shooter. I mean, at least he hasn't been this year.
No,
No,
not this year.
career-wise, he's not terrible, but he doesn't spread the floor. Now, Covington hasn't been super efficient either, so I'm not necessarily upset that he's not starting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think Nance to me is better off in the second unit, getting a little bit more minutes. We don't have Zeller because, of course, we don't have Zeller. We talked about the injuries at the beginning of the season when we were doing our preseason stuff. I mean, we knew that Zeller was going to be an issue with injuries, and so you kind of need to have some size out there that you really don't get when Nance is playing big minutes. Now, he has also played with the second unit quite a bit because the rotations are all a little weird right now. But no, I don't personally think that he should be playing small ball center. It's not necessarily my thing with him. I just don't think as a center he's that good. He has no real good back to the basket game. Now he's good around the rim. Like he's definitely he has a good touch and he can dunk. But I think he's better suited to be in a passing role where they run the offense through him a bit more to give Dame and I guess Powell and whoever else is out there with them, Anthony, depending on the rotations. Yeah, let them play a little more off ball and let them cut a little bit more because I do think that you can utilize that and let people cut to the rim and have him be able to hit them with passes. I wish he had a better shot. I wish he could turn around like a LaMarcus and shoot up over people and some of these other bigs in the league that can do that. Anthony Davis is in the likes, but he can't. And I think that's what limits him a little bit. And it's offensively, even while he's been starting, he has not been very good. Not from a points perspective, granted. And that's a little disappointing because I thought with some more minutes and playing the starting role that we would get a bit more out of him. Now, he has been doing other things. He rebounds better and he has gotten more assists and he has been more efficient in a lot of the other stats than what we saw with Rocco. So I'm still cool with him playing the starting power forward.
Yeah, I just think Nance could be utilized differently. I think you talked about using him more as a facilitator. He makes really good decisions in the short roll. So when he catches the ball in transition or in like a quick situation, he makes really good passes and the right decision a lot of the time. And the other thing is he's a really good finisher around the rim. So he's athletic. We've never really been able to use that type of player who can actually finish at the rim. Nurkic is a really soft finisher. He's got a lot more finesse in his game, for better or worse. But Larry Nance cannot stretch the floor at all. I think you alluded to it. His three-point shooting this year has been awful, and
Not
he's
good.
seen a lot of places and times where he could hit a pick and pop shot, and he just doesn't want to, or B, he can't really make it enough to force the defense to counter that. So I just think that he could have a better offensive role on this team, and he could help unlock some of these really gross possessions where the ball doesn't move.
Yeah, and I think that's part of my problem with him starting. As much as
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with it, I still
Mm-hmm.
would prefer him off the bench because him and Nurk just to me don't play good enough together. Now having him, I do think they need to utilize him better off the bench to do some of the stuff that you just alluded to. I would like to see him be involved with some more cuts and getting a little bit closer to the rim, maybe even some back to the basket stuff with Amp being able to hit him down low or drawing the
Mm-hmm.
defense in and kicking to him or lobbing to him or doing something else
Yep.
to bring
I'm
out what he
stat.
does best. And I do think that they should run the offense through him more in the second unit, letting him make decisions with the ball in his hands and passing out the shooters or trying
Yeah.
to back guys down or doing some other stuff that he's been doing. But either way, Billups has made the decision. He has not been happy with Rocco. And I guess realistically, it's either Nance or Little at this point. As far as your
Mm-hmm.
starters go, now Little's already played some starting role and some starting minutes with him. But until Dame gets back, or not Dame, but until CJ gets back,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see a pretty similar rotation so far.
Yeah, the rotation is what it is. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, like you said, until CJ gets back. I don't think Chauncey wants to change it. He has been really hesitant to move Rocco out as a starter and adjust these lineups. It doesn't seem like he's a guy, and that was something that I think we were critical on Stotts for last year, is like he just sticks with the same lineup a lot. Now, eventually, he did have to move Derek Jones out, and when the Norman Powell trade happened, that completely shook everything up. But it's like this is a similar situation where we know what we're going to get in the starting five, and we typically know what 3 or 4 guys are going to play minutes off the bench, unless somebody like McLemore gets really hot and then he earns more minutes.
But I am happy that Billups decided to make the. I mean, it still
Me
shows, like,
too.
you know what, Rocco was not playing hard, and they moved him. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to say you're going to earn the ability to start. I don't care how much money
I
you
agree.
make. I don't care how many picks we gave up for you. You're not playing good right now. You're not doing anything on this roster. You're going to go and play the bench. And he's actually been pretty good off the bench. He looks like he's matching his minutes more efficiently and effectively playing with guys like Anthony right now,
I agree.
and McLemore, which has been great to see. He's able to do a little more, and his defense has been better because he's playing against backups, and he's able to kind of really lock guys down in the second units down and slowing people down more so than I really thought he was doing in the starters because there was just a little bit too much. He didn't seem to flow defensively with the starting unit, and he has closed. He's closed some games out. He still played some big minutes late in games. So there are situations where Chauncey's left him in with Dame and Norman and the other starters and allowed him to be out there and continue to play. So it's not like it's necessarily a permanent thing per se, and it really doesn't make a difference to me because I told you it's not about who starts versus
I
who
agree.
plays the big minutes and the clutch minutes and all of that, where he has been involved in a lot of these games.
Yeah. That was just something I wanted to run by you. What else? What do you have for the weekly?
What do you think about Dame coming back? He's looked good. He had a couple meh moments where he's looked a little bit more banged up, but he's back to the high 20s. He had 2 games over 30 this week. He's looked, in fact, I think 3 games. I think he had 30, 31 against Phoenix, then 43 obviously in the Charlotte game, and then he had another 30, I think, the first Memphis game. So
yeah, he looked great in that first Memphis game too.
He's had a couple of just high scoring games. His shot looks better. He looks quick when he's attacking. I mean, are you noticing the same things? Are you excited to have him back to full strength?
I 1000% agree with you. I think the biggest thing is he is able to get around the corner when he's turning on a defender. That's the first time this year, maybe since the first week of the season, that I felt like Dame could actually turn the corner. The other thing is this week,
he dunked this week.
Yep, he dunked this week against the Grizzlies. He hit a shot where he was double teamed and his legs kicked back in the air. It was pretty deep. It looked impossible. It was the first time this season I thought, okay, that looked like Dame. He did it in the first Grizzlies game on December 15th, and then in the second Grizzlies game, he looked really good in that too. And like you talked about the efficiency earlier in the pod, his efficiency this week was much better. And when he was shooting, every shot either looked like it was going to rattle in or go in. It was a much better week for Dame. He got a cortisone shot last week, I want to say, at some point. The timeline's kind of fuzzy because I think they announced it a couple days afterwards. It looks like that has helped a lot. And then they've balanced out resting with practicing and playing for Dame, and he looks way better.
Yep, the cortisone shot, they said, should last about 6 months. He'll eventually have to get surgery, but it should take him through the season at least.
Yep.
And then they may do some other maintenance throughout. So I posted a poll on the
Okay.
tweeters. I posted a poll. We had a good buddy of the show bring up that he thinks we should trade Dame now and get the value back for him. He says that he's starting to get up there. He wants a big extension, and you're not going to have too much opportunity left to get much back for him. So he's saying get some picks, get some players, get whatever, get assets, and just time to rebuild. So an overwhelming number of people on the tweeters disagreed with that notion. They say you don't trade a superstar. I'm personally against the whole trading a superstar. You do not trade a superstar unless they want out, in my opinion. For what? I mean, to me, it's what's the point? Because if that's the case, like, what are you hoping to get back? You're hoping to get lucky in the draft and get another Damian Lillard? You have a prime candidate right now who's in his prime, who's a superstar. The problem is getting guys around him. Anyway, so that's where I stand on it. I'm curious with you because I brought up that poll because of that. And since Dame has been a little inefficient this year and all the trade talks that's been going on with Dame, it's kind of fun to retouch on this. And you're not going to upset any of our fans, I hope. But what do you think on that? I'm genuinely concerned, or not concerned, but curious is the word I'm looking for, to see what your take on the Dame potentially getting something back for him before it's too late.
We have a recent history of all-star level, all-star caliber players getting traded in James Harden. AD is another one that I think of where basically they were the best player on their team. They were the alpha dog. They were the franchise leader. And then they either demanded out or got unhappy. And so the team traded them. And when the team traded them, they went into a mode that I'm not comfortable with as a Blazer fan. I mean, it's one thing to rebuild, but if you look at the Rockets and how they're playing right now, I don't think I could cover that team. I don't think I could get on here every Sunday and actually talk about that team with you because it's so bad. I understand that you want to rebuild. What I don't understand is I don't want to be the process Sixers. I don't want to be, and the Pelicans got lucky with Zion, but it hasn't equated to any wins. It hasn't.
No, they're one of the worst teams in the league still 2 years later.
Exactly. So look, I understand what people are saying, but to me, Damian Lillard is the best Blazer in history, and that is not a common thing for most fans. I get a lot of fights about that. Like I have a lot of disagreements with people, but for me and you probably too, when you think of the best Blazer of all time, we're gonna see Damian Lillard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, statistically speaking, he's going to end up, if he stays here, being the best Blazer of all time.
Exactly.
And he's, you can talk about playoff success and championships and other Blazers have brought that. Sure, fine.
Sure.
But my thing with trading Dame, especially anytime soon, is we haven't really gotten a chance to see Dame with a different roster. The CJ thing isn't working out. I'm sorry, it's not working out. So we need to see first what happens when you trade CJ.
I agree.
To see what you can bring back and see what other roster. So our friend said that he basically doesn't think we're going to be able to put a roster around Dame in the next 3 years or so, which I think is ludicrous because I think you have assets right now to be able to make those trades. I think you got to at least try, and maybe it's not. I shouldn't say it's ludicrous because you could absolutely not, have any success in playoffs. Maybe you don't get the roster around Dame that you want, but you have not tried. And my thing is, until you try,
you don't know.
I just don't see how you can just immediately run the trading him. But I figured all the Dame trade talk, it was kind of fun to see what fans thought about that. Like, there's a lot of media people that would love to see Dame on another team trying to win a championship. But to me, that should be the mindset of every single team is you're trying to get a championship. And when you already have one piece in place and that piece is locked in, says he wants to be here, is not demanding out and continues to call people out for trying to say that he's been saying whatever he wants to go and all that good stuff, you should be blessed that you have that. You really should, because that is not common anymore. Davis was not loyal to New Orleans. He didn't give a crap. Harden, frankly, did his best in Houston. I mean, they tried to get him Chris Paul. They tried to get him Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
they did things to attempt to help him. Dwight Howard. I mean, there were times where Houston tried, and I think I can't really blame him for wanting to demand out, but he also demanded out. Kawhi Leonard with the Spurs is no different. He wanted out. He goes to Toronto, wins a championship. Fine. But the Spurs haven't really, what have they done? LaMarcus didn't really started the age. They traded Kawhi. They got some stuff back.
I can't think of a single example.
There's not one example of how it's worked out for
not one that not in the last 15 years.
I mean, Oklahoma City, maybe. I mean, sure, they got rid of Paul left in free agency, I believe. It was the Westbrook
Mhm.
where they got some stuff. Well, no, Paul, I think they did trade still.
That was a
It
trade,
was a
but
trade
it's
because they got Gallinari and some stuff back, but
yeah, I don't know.
it doesn't like it really made a difference. I mean, they made the playoffs, granted, because they had Chris Paul and they had some other pieces, but the picks haven't done anything for him yet.
Mhm.
It's just you put yourself in a bad spot if you just get rid of a guy for the sake of getting rid of a guy. So wanted to bring that
Yep,
up with you. I don't have a
that was
lot of
good.
other stuff to go on in this week, so I just wanted to see what you said. That was a poll that we put out there, and curious
Yeah.
as what your thoughts on that were.
It's good. I mean, the other quick weeklies are health is going to start to come around at some point. We don't have an update on CJ really, and
Soon sounds like, but
Zeller doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I just don't
no.
really care when he comes back. But health is going to start to turn around a little bit. If Dame can stay healthy like this, I mean, I think that you're going to see a quick turnaround. The schedule is a little rough, but we'll go through that later on or talk about that later on. I want to get into the new segment.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. So you put it out. It's like a guess
Okay.
who or something you
It's
got from me, right?
It's like
Explain.
Guess Who. So it's called Who Are You? So I'm going to give you a blind resume of a player, and your job is you'll get 3 questions to try to narrow down who they are. And I don't care what 3 questions you ask me as long as it's not like my name or my teammate's name or something.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right. 3 guesses.
I'm going to give you a blind resume of an NBA player. Now it's active. It's not some like
So I
1975
get I
player.
get I get 3 questions, 1 guess.
3 questions and then 1 guess when
All
you're done
right,
with
all
three
right, all right.
questions.
I gotta put some thought into this. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I am currently, right now, averaging 17.7 points
Oh,
per
that's
game.
annoying. Okay.
I know. I play about 34 minutes per game. And I'll give you a couple other stats here. I shoot 43% from the field, 33% from three, and let's see, 8.5 assists per game.
Okay, the assists actually help. I was like, you're naming off
I know I'm trying to give you some
75% of
stuff.
NBA rosters right
So
now.
17 points, 8.5 assists. I shoot 33% from
It's
three.
obviously a guard.
Yep.
Okay. That does
Okay.
not count as a question.
Nope.
Screw
You
you. I'm
get three
talking to myself.
questions.
Yeah, that doesn't count, Mr. Genie. All right, hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Is he in the Western Conference?
I am in the Western Conference, yes.
Okay, in the Western Conference. Are we a playoff team?
Oh, that's a good one. This team is on the bubble, but they are not in the West right now.
Bubble, but not quite in
Not
playoffs. Okay,
quite
that
in the
narrows it down a little
playoffs.
bit more. You
And
probably shouldn't have said the bubble thing.
I
That
don't
works.
think they'll make it. But
Okay. Ooh, okay.
so now you know he's a starting guard on a Western Conference bubble playoff team.
Okay.
So
Does
you're
my
so
team
confident.
play in California?
No.
Damn it. That was okay. That's helpful, I guess. But that's it. That's my 3 questions. That
Okay.
sucks. Okay.
He's been in the league. I'll give you one more. He's been in the league for 5 years. This is his sixth year right now.
Is it Murray for the Spurs?
DeJounte Murray.
No way.
Yes, it is. It's DeJounte Murray.
Yes. No way.
Yes, it is. DeJounte Murray's giving
Oh.
you 17 and a half. His 3-point shooting is something that could get better. And if it does, he'll probably be like a 22 point per game scorer. But that 8.5 assist number is the thing that sticks out to me. He's been really good this year.
Well, the bubble team kind of. I was thinking, okay, I was
Yeah.
thinking like the Kings. I was
I
thinking
had to give
De'Aaron
you
Fox
something.
for a sec, but I'm like, I think Fox scores a
Yep.
little bit more than that. And then
Yep.
when I knew it wasn't a California team, that took away like Sacramento and all those. Okay, cool. That was fun. That was
That was a good
1
one,
for 1 though. Take that.
All right. So the next player.
We got multiple players. I thought
Oh yeah.
I
No,
won. I thought I won the prize. We're
gonna do a couple real quick. The
All right,
next
one
player,
more.
we'll do 2 more.
2 more. Okay.
Yeah, they'll be quick. So the next player has been in the. Okay, I'll say this: he's been in the league for longer than DeJounte Murray. He averages 12.2 points per game. He gets you. Let me find. He gets you 7.1 rebounds per game, and he is shooting 96% from free throw this year, which is pretty incredible. And he will give you. He's shooting 40% from three this year.
12-8. Super good from free throw and
12-8, super good from free throw.
and a
Been
good
in the league for a while.
That could be fun.
He's only played in 20 games.
Okay. Am I in the Eastern Conference?
You are in the Eastern, or no, he's played in 23 games. I'm sorry. You are in the Eastern Conference, yes.
Man, my original questions were so good. I almost want to stick with them.
You can do them again. Use them
I don't
again.
know about the Eastern Conference as much, so I couldn't tell you it was even in playoffs. Okay. Am I?
This team is a playoff team, but you don't know because you don't know the Eastern Conference standings.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't help me any good. Okay.
Yeah.
Is my team in New York?
No. You
Okay.
have one more question left to identify this player.
Yeah. I think it might be a Brooklyn or a New York team. Okay.
Can I give you a hint that I think will not be a dead giveaway?
You give me all the hints you want.
He has a ring.
Oh, okay. That doesn't help that much. That's fine. So then it's got to be a Toronto team.
Mm-mm.
That didn't count as one of my questions.
I think I think the fans at home got this one by now.
What? No.
I think so. Yeah.
Not with those basic stats.
I think it's going to be obvious, painfully obvious once.
Well, I know he's a good 3-point shooter, clearly. So okay.
But he gets a lot of rebounds too. Think about that. He gets like 7 rebounds per game. So he's a floor stretching.
Do I play center?
No, power forward.
Power forward, yeah.
Exclusively power forward.
Okay, so power forward. I knew it was going to be good rebounds. I'm trying to narrow it down for somebody a little smaller, somebody a little bigger.
He's been in the league for a longer than DeJounte.
Power forward, long time, has a ring in the Eastern Conference on a playoff team.
Come on, dude. You got to get this one.
No, I don't. I'm telling you, man. I'm terrible with the.
You have a blind spot for this character.
It's not Vucevic. It's going to be. No, he's a center
He doesn't
anyway.
have a ring.
It has a. Yeah, that's right. It has a ring. Not on a New York team.
Yes. I didn't know if I'd stump you or not.
I'm just trying to think of like power forwards. I'm trying to think of the power forwards that are in the Eastern Conference right now. There's on the playoffs. So it's probably. I'm gonna go with it's got to be the Celtic.
Nope.
Yeah. It's not Sabonis because he averages more than that. It's gonna be he's been in the league that long.
Throw a guess out there.
All right. Tobias Harris? No, I don't know.
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love?
Kevin Love. He's played in 23 games. He's averaging 12.2.
Oh, wow. I forgot Kevin Love was a thing.
He just came back like not that long ago, and he was kind of on a minutes restriction. But the last couple weeks, he's actually been really good for the Cavs.
That's right. I didn't even think of it. Yeah, the ring thing. I didn't go back far enough.
I know because you just don't really think about him, and you think Cleveland's this young rebuilding team, and you forget Kevin Love exists.
Yep, I did too. I didn't even know they were they're in the playoffs right now.
They are technically
they're in the playoff picture.
I looked at them the other day. They were the 5th.
Wow. See, this is what I told you. Like I have the playoff thing doesn't help me because I'm thinking Cleveland still is terrible.
Garland's been dope. And they're Mobley is amazing.
Sexton, huh? Okay.
No, because Sexton's hurt.
All right, I'll give you one more.
Okay, one more. Let's go quick. I'm averaging 14 points per game. I'm giving you 5.6 rebounds, and I don't have a lot of statistics that stick out, but I average 3 threes per game. I shoot 35% from 3 this year.
Yeah, that's again, you just described like half the league. Okay. Fine. Western Conference?
Western Conference.
Okay. California team?
No, but they are a playoff team.
Okay.
He's 14.1, 5.6 rebounds. He's a good shooter from 3. He's having a career percentage year.
Okay.
He's also averaging a lot of 2s per game, 7.3 2-point attempts per game. That's kind of surprising.
Do I play?
Am I a
guard?
No, you are a power forward. You play power forward exclusively and have your whole career.
Playoff team, not in California.
You play with one of the best players in the NBA.
Yeah.
14.1.
I'm thinking Utah, but
Oh, that was a good guess.
thinking Utah, but if it's not them, then it's got to be Denver. Power forward exclusively your entire career. Aaron Gordon?
Aaron Gordon, my guy, 14 points per game. He's having a career
Yeah, Aaron
35%.
Gordon. Okay, I'll take 2
Yep.
out of 3. I'll take 2 out of 3 in this.
I'm surprised you missed Love. I thought
I
that
am
was the
too.
one you were going to
I
get.
honestly forgot Kevin Love played in this league. I mean, I didn't, but he's been so irrelevant for so long.
Yeah.
I told you I didn't think Cleveland was a playoff team.
Yeah,
At the top
that
of my
was
head, I would
surprising
not
me
have
too.
put them as. That's what thing threw me off because I
Uh-huh.
was thinking like, okay, well, I don't
What
know.
do you
I
do?
was going back and forth. I knew it wasn't a New York team, so that takes something. I was thinking Chicago. Like, well, there's no way. I don't even know who their power forward is. Like Patrick Williams or something. So I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, it's not them. And
that was fun.
that was a good time. I like this little
Yeah.
segment. I don't know about doing 3 every time because I take too long.
No, we might do 1 or 2, but I just wanted that we had a little filler this week because there was just light on news, so I figured we'd have some fun with it.
That's better than my what ifs. I'll give you that. So,
We'll try it out.
yeah, that's it. I think
That's it, man.
You want to pop? Well, you can't pop up the schedule, but who do we play? We got Christmas week coming up. So who do we play this upcoming week? I know we got
That's a
the
good question.
Pelicans on the 21st.
Here, I'll pull it up right now because honestly, I want to see too. So
Pelicans should be a win.
God, I hope. So coming up, we play Pelicans on the 21st. Then we play the Nets on December 23rd.
Yeah, but they're ravaged by COVID right now. That might be all right.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be okay. We play the Mavericks on the 27th on Monday, and so we will probably only recap.
So we're only recapping Brooklyn and
I think that
Brooklyn
we're going to have to
Pelicans.
start talking trades next week. So if people tune in, we're going to have 2 games on a recap, and then the Christmas episode, we'll probably start doing some trade mocks.
Yeah, we'll have a fun pod then. It'll be more of a we'll do the super special Christmas edition. Or holiday edition for those of you who aren't into Christmas. Yeah, well, I'll think of some fun stuff for this. We only have 2 games, so that should be exciting. Yeah, I'm interested. This will be fun. So we appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the new segment. That was I'm impressed with myself on the Murray one, but
that was really good. I did not expect you to get him.
No, you gotta come up with better stats than to give me so many hints. 14 points up the game. That's half a league. But I do like that. I think we can fine tune that. If you guys enjoyed it, there's a subscribe button down below. If you haven't already listened to my rant at the beginning of the podcast, go ahead and just hit that button. And again, we're going to be doing some following. The next follower giveaway is going to be on Twitter. So if you're on the Twitters, follow us. We're going to start doing some stuff that'll be exclusively on there. I'll be posting the contest on the Twitter page. That'll be coming up in a couple weeks. I'll probably announce it next week. Why not? It's the holiday edition, so maybe I'm overweight and have a beard. I'll play Santa this week, and we'll do something fun. So that's upcoming. We appreciate you guys subscribing and listening to us, and that's about it, man. We'll have a good one next week.
Yep.
Anything else? One last note.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, and we are out. Peace. Oh man, I gotta try.
Thank you, bros.